This tutorial covers one style of knitted braid in Estonian knitting. This is a Kihnu Vits, or in English, a Kihnu Braid. As the name implies, this style of braid comes from the Estonian island of Kihnu. It's worked in the round over 2 rounds. So let's get started. This braid is worked using 2 colors over an even number of stitches. I will be using white and black for a high contrast. The first round involves knitting the entire round, alternating your colors. I start my first stitch with my main color. In this case, my main color is white. So I will knit white, and on the second stitch, join my contrasting color, which is my black. I will carry on alternating between white and black, main color and contrasting color to the end of the round. Now that we finished working round 1, alternating our colors, we're going to work the second half of the braid. In this round, we're going to bring both yarns to the front as we're going to be purling all of the stitches. As we're purling, we're going to be twisting the yarn to make the braid. So we're going to purl in opposite colors to the stitches on our needles. I'm going to start showing you how I personally do it as a continental knitter, holding both yarns in my left hand, and then in a throwing or English style. So I drape both colors over my index finger. The way I drape them is in relation to the color that I'm next going to purl. This is so that I get my twisting correct. So as my first stitch on my needle is white, the color I want to purl with is going to be below and the matching color on top. This is so when I twist it, which is the key thing we're going to do, it will cross over my white. So I'm going to put my needle in, pick up the color I want, in this case, my dark black, kind of gray color, and crossing it over my white to pull through to purl. You'll see the cross happening right there, mostly over my index finger. So I'm going to pull that stitch off. Now I'm going to kind of slightly readjust my holding of the yarns on my left hand for the next stitch. So I kind of just pull them out and readjust. And you'll see that, pull them to the front, that the dark is now on top and the white is on the bottom. So I'm ready for my next stitch. So I'm going to be purling the opposite color, so with the white. So I'm going to purl with the white. It's going to come crossing over the black. You'll see right there. Pull through. I'm going to pull this back. It gets a little easier as you go along. So I've readjusted for my next one. Grab the color I need, crossing it over and pulling it through. I'm going to do a few more of these so that you can see the braid form. It takes a few stitches in order to see it. As you'll see, the braid is starting to form, and the braid is formed by, we're making floats as we're changing color in front, which makes the bottom half of our braid. The top half of the braid is actually the purl bump, and you won't really start to see it until you've worked a few stitches. But the crossing over is the key thing in order to make your braid consistent. So you want to keep crossing over. You'll notice that your yarn is going to want to twist in on itself as you work the braid. If you're working quite a few stitches, you can pause and untwist them and start fresh. If you are a thrower or English style knitter, you can do this one at a time, throwing. So I'm starting off again on a white stitch. With this, I'm going to pick up the colors I need one at a time, physically crossing them as I'm doing it. So I'm going to align it similar to how I had on my index finger. So you'll see I'm holding them white on the top, black on the bottom. What I'm going to do is pick my black, bringing it over the white, up to wrap around my needle to purl that stitch. And now as you see it, I'm kind of holding them horizontally in front of me in the front of the work as we're keeping the yarns to the front, that they've switched positions. Now obviously they've switched because they're crossing back here as well. So they've switched positions for the next stitch, which is a dark stitch that's going to become white. So I'm going to bring it up, crossing over the black to wrap around my needle and purl that stitch. Yarns are now switched places. For the next stitch, bring the dark up, crossing over the white and purl. Up, crossing over, purl. And you'll just work to the end of your round, whether you're doing it English or throwing style or continental on your left index finger. When you get to the end of the round, you'll notice I haven't bothered to undo it. So all you need to do is let it twist. If you're working in the round, you can simply hold it up, woo, and let it spin, and it will untwist itself in a nice quick fashion. And there you have it. A quick and beautiful braid, great for a little bit of embellishment on cuffs.